To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Porkchop. Written by Zach Bassam and Eamon Hardiman, and directed by Hardiman, Porkchop stars the story of a group of young campers headed off into the wilderness for a weekend of partying at an abandoned summer camp, only to discover they are not alone and the camp's inhabitant, a deranged redneck with a pig mask, is not pleased with their presence. How's it going, my crazy campers? And a lot of other C words. It's that time again. Time to check out yet another low-budget slasher in the woods movie, Porkchop. This one is special for two reasons. One, because it's got a robot in it, and two, because it was actually suggested by one of you lot in the comments of the last video, and to be honest, I hate that person now. Why would you do this to me? Do you hate me? What the f did I ever do to you? Porkchop features a group of incredibly unlikable characters being killed off one by one. Eventually. The only reason I decided to go ahead and actually cover it was one scene in particular. You'll know it when you see it. But even that wasn't worth it. I really hated this movie. So much so that I found myself getting genuinely angry. I cannot stress to you how much of a bad time I had with this one, so let's just get on with it. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $3 a month. That's it. Want to see the uncut videos, the Patreon exclusive videos that can't be on YouTube anymore, or join the Discord, go over there now. Also, as you may know, my short film Better Anything has been completed and is currently being submitted to film festivals all around the world. We've already submitted to Toronto Independent Film Festival, British Horror Film Festival, Rilla Thriller, which we actually got accepted to, thanks guys, and the Dead Northern Film Festival, to name a few. All those submissions have been made possible by the Patreon, so if you really do want to help the film get seen, please go over there now and donate. And finally, check out my new f***ing hat. Look at this. Am I getting it in frame? Can you see that shit? This was a custom Scream hat hand-painted by my boy Generic Original. He's my best friend in the world, and honestly, if it wasn't for him, I'd probably be dead right now, so do me a favor, go over to his Instagram and follow him. And maybe DM him with a nice offer, and he might do you some custom wares. But anyway, there's his Instagram now. I think it's @Generic Original. Yeah, go follow him. But anyway, I'm in the mood to meet the most irritating people of all time, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to endure the worst comedy since the last time I put a video out. This is Porkchop. The movie begins with this lovely young couple running into frame and quickly stripping off, which is lovely.
Maybe this will help things.
Oh, what was that noise? Did that bloke just bust in his pants? We see someone walking through the woods and watching the couple as they swim. The pair then lay down to f*** when their stalker makes his presence known. I already hate this movie! Cut to the opening credits featuring all sorts of piggy stock footage, and then to these two fellas driving. And maybe the worst British accent I have ever heard.
Rick bloody Springfield is not punk and does not bloody f***ing rock.
There's no way that is from England. It sounds like he's doing a shit impression of Spike from Buffy, and he's not even British either. Also, look at that tree in the background behind Ian when he leans forward. Pretty sure trees move when you drive, but what the f do I know? It also becomes clear during this scene that these two aren't friends, and Ian is an exchange student only coming to get away from Mike's creepy sister.
Swear to God, other night, I'm sleeping, I wake up in the middle of the night, she's standing over me, and I swear she says, "Don't struggle."
They then pull up at this place where Deborah here complains about Ian coming, saying he does drugs and doesn't want to be around them because she's a boring.
Hey mate, I'm standing right here. You're standing there, she's standing there, and then her little brother over there. I'm right in the middle, conversations coming through, but please, continue.
Ian then meets Deborah's brother Richie and his robot. Yep, that's right, there's a robot in this movie. He may not look impressive now, but you'll see. Ian then tells Richie that robots freak him out, and Richie says he built the machine but he didn't turn out right, that he's a bit of an arsehole. Back with Mike and Deb, we find out they're a couple and are currently having problems.
Look, I'm not saying I want to break up. I'm just...
What? Is that the lack of communication that you were talking about?
God.
There's a few instances in this movie where characters can't seem to be able to say what they're trying to say. It goes on for too long, and it's f***ing annoying. Cut to the group picking up Rachel, who Richie seems to fancy. Could have done without seeing that.
Sorry, my hand's a little sweaty.
It's okay.
He masturbates with that hand.
Okay, I like the robot. They then pick up Courtney, who Deb seems to be jealous of.
Courtney, if he gets anything on you, touches you in any way, just let me know and we'll leave him bloody in a ditch.
Boy, when have I ever been anything but absolutely grade A charming to all the birds you bring around the house? Oh, so that kind of slipped out there, didn't it?
Now with all that character stuff out the way, we cut to a driving montage set to shitty music.
So I say,
And this goes on for the entire duration of the song, which is pretty painful. Anyway, they eventually pull up at this store as the driver advises this is their last stop before camp. Here, Ian pulls Richie to the side and gives him a pep talk about banging Rachel, making sure he can pursue Courtney nerd-free. Then, in the store, Rachel and Deb are subjected to whatever the is going on here.
Listen, if you want to look at men putting your parts in other men's parts, that's your business. Now, God might blame you, but Bert certainly won't. Now, listen. Life is a series of experimentations. Now, listen, it might not all involve you dressing up like that boy George. But let me tell you, if that's the way you want to hunt that thing, you got a spot right here.
And he's wearing the same t-shirt the guy in the opening scene was wearing. Surely there was another t-shirt on set. Rachel eventually gets the clerk's attention and asks where the bathroom is when this harbinger pops up to tell them this.
If you go back there, you're all doomed. Doomed, I say. Doomed.
Right this way there, ladies.
Moving on. Outside, Courtney kisses Mike when he tells her this isn't a good idea as his girlfriend is just in the store. She presses him on telling Deb about their relationship, but Mike says he just needs some time. He then promises her they'll get some private time on this trip when we get this line.
I swear one day my gonna get me killed.
I hate the writing in this movie so much. Also, this next scene doesn't make any sense either.
Oh, you from England? Why didn't you say so?
I kind of thought the accent gave me away.
You didn't say anything! What do you mean the accent gave it away? There must have been a cut line there. Okay? It's the only thing that makes any sense. Anyway, the clerks give Ian some moonshine when Mike turns up and asks for beer. The clerk asks where they're going and Mike says Camp Riverbend. The clerk then laughs as this is apparently where families go and instead recommends the creatively named Camp Wood.
Yeah, Camp Wood, ain't that right, Teddy? I tell you what, you get up there to Riverbend and you shoot around that hog trough, right? And you go another 35 minutes.
Somebody kill me now, please.
Then you run up on the Route 9. You shoot over to Route 5 and Route 9. That's about 14 and a half minutes. And you come around, then you back around the hog trough again, but then you pass it up that time.
For the love of all that is holy on this earth, please.
I'd say it's safe. You know what I say? Is it safe to dance?
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends.
It's gonna be like this for the entire movie, isn't it?
Don't go out to Camp Wood or you're doomed.
An actual record scratch. Life really isn't worth living anymore, is it? I'm not even joking. Also, the jar that Ian was supposed to take is still in the shop with the clerks and Mike never got his beers. Clerk 2 then directs Clerk 1's attention to the news as Rick Richards reports on a couple of girls whose bodies were recently found at Camp Wood.
The corpses of the bodies were discovered here at the camp, and authorities are urging all campers to use extreme caution while camping.
Cut to everyone outside with their one tiny bag of supplies when we learn from Elron he was originally designed to be a sex robot and was called Rachel, which is of course extremely funny.
Well, now that we all know a little bit more about each other, what say we get out of here and start the party?
It was at this point of the film that I started to think I'd probably rather be watching another Loose for Valentine film right now. Cut to more driving and pointless chat when they eventually pull into Camp Wood. We then get more of the robot baiting up Richie for being a creep.
Should have brought my Commodore 64.
Oh, you have one of those too? I got one for Christmas.
Yeah,
He uses it to print pictures of naked women with your head superimposed on top. Then well, I think you know what he does.
This goes on for what feels like a billion years when they all get out and look weirdly pissed off for no reason. And that's when Richie finds the moonshine, handing it over to Ian.
There's a good lad. You know, maybe later I'll share a little bit with you. We can get proper arsehold together.
Proper ushold together? This guy sucks. And then we get this joke.
Bag, mate?
not into that kind of thing.
Because in the UK, fag is a nickname for a cigarette. That's why that's funny. The group then head into the woods as Richie stays behind to work on the robot so they never have to show it moving in a wide shot as someone in the house spies on them. They find a spot and settle down when Debs asks Richie and Ian to go get firewood. We get some jokes about Courtney being afraid of ticks and also being dumb when Rachel tells her to lighten up. Debs then draws for some lawn darts when one of them asks where their friends Carrie and Pete are. So Carrie and Pete were the couple from the opening scene. No, unfortunately they won't be attending, and neither will Carrie's Jumbo Yum Yums. What a f***ing tragedy. Cut to Ian and Richie walking when Ian brings up the fact that the robot is trying to f*** Rachel.
I don't think he's equipped to do that.
Equipped or not, he's going to be dining on her tasty clam soup and a couple of ticks unless you pull off a miracle, and trust me, it'll take nothing less.
Jesus Christ, is that what I sound like? I know I just called a dead woman's tits Jumbo Yum Yums, but tasty clam soup? Good lord. Ian tells Richie to be more aloof to attract Rachel, and then we cut to a party montage. In case you're wondering, yes, this does go on for the entire duration of the song. Again. And yes, that is Rachel flirting with the robot. Ian then gets in the middle of Rachel and Elron to make him do a version of the Jigsaw voice, I think.
Would you like to play a game?
Rachel then sits with Richie and asks if all that creepy Elron said about him was true, but he denies it. She then invites him to take a walk into the woods, which he accepts. Cut to Mike giving us backstory on the legendary Porkchop.
Farmer McIntyre and his wife lived on a farm not too far from here. And on that farm, they raise pigs. Not just any pigs, mind you. I'm talking big, crossed. The only problem was they had a son.
And the farmer killed the son's favourite pig before locking him in a room filled with dead pigs for months. He tried to feed his son bits of his favourite pig, but the son refused, instead surviving on rats and bugs. Then one day the son escaped and cut his parents into bacon and ate them. Finally, he escaped into the woods with a brand new taste for human flesh. Sorry, I would have let him tell the story, but the pauses between words are wild and the sound quality is dog shit. Cut to Ian and Rachel walking when she gets her baps out and asks what he's gonna do about it.
I sort of,
Yeah?
sort of,
Yes?
got my junk caught in my zipper yesterday.
What? For God's sake, Ricky, through the pain! Rachel then offers it up to Ian, but he says he has standards, which is insane, and the robot is charging. She then storms off and Richie sits with the most punchable face I have ever seen. They drink some more together and Richie immediately passes out, which is funny. Mike then sneaks out of his tent telling Courtney he's going to Browntown, which she follows, hoping that means the butt.
I want to go to Browntown. Wait, does that mean in the butt? I hope it does.
Ian follows them when Richie wakes up.
Great idea.
Cut to Ian stumbling on Mike piping down Courtney up against a tree.
He went chainsaw!
Very romantic. Also, doesn't that bark on her back hurt like a... Anyway, Mike then shoots his load as I realise we're 47 minutes in and there's only been 2 kills. And they were in the same scene. Ian walks away all butthurt and we cut to more banter with Courtney and Mike when he tells her him and Deb are gonna give it another go.
Are you just inside of me?
Well, you know, if it comes to it, I guess I'll pay to, take care of it.
I hate this movie. I really hate it.
He's got this clothes hanger, and he takes these stairs, and what he does is he gets right up in, very professional.
Cut to Ian drunkenly walking through the woods when he passes this house and decides to go inside. He turns on the light and finds whatever the this is, then takes a massive shit. After finishing, Ian sits in his own shit, then passes out as we cut to the robot charging and Richie sleeping. Mike then creeps back into his tent, waking up Deb, and the two start kissing. Unfortunately, Mike is unable to stand to attention and Deb immediately deduces this is because he just banged Courtney and kicks him out the tent. Mike then passes out next to Richie and in their sleep the two hold hands. 54 minutes in and only 2 kills. 54 minutes. I was sure Ian was gonna get it, but no! Seriously, whoever suggested this in the comments, I am genuinely upset with you. Cut to morning and a bloody hand by the water? What the f***? And then to Mike being kicked awake by the others. They tell him they slept most of the day away and can't find Ian, so Mike says they should split up and look. Courtney refuses to move, so the others all f*** off as she realises she's now alone.
All by myself. Alone.
Not that it f***ing matters in this movie. Mike then finds what he thinks is Ian, but instead gets his ass knocked the f*** out. Cut to Rachel and the robot searching. They decide to take a rest when Elron says he overheard Rachel talking about wanting to get laid last night and offers his services.
Wait, how exactly are you going to... Wow.
The wonders of modern technology, my dear, never cease to marvel humans.
We then cut back to Richie searching for Ian when he stumbles on this.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Me C-3PO, me.
Yep, that's Rachel getting by the robot. I mean, sure, she still has her bottoms on, as did Courtney in the earlier scene, and when she moves you can clearly see the robot doesn't have a but the intent was there.
See, Richie? I win. Again. You douche.
You ain't shit, Johnny Five! You'll never be shit!
Rachel, now seeing she's been used by the robot that looks like it was built by a child, calls him an arsehole and storms off when we cut to Mike getting stabbed in the hands by Porkchop. He then begs to be let go but instead catches a mallet to the face.
Help!
Finally! After over an hour! Somebody is dead! Yeah, it was over quick and looked fake as but I'm just glad to see some blood. Cut to the sun setting as Rachel trips and the killer walks. We see Rachel's now covered in mud as she begs Richie for forgiveness.
We can still work this out. I really like you. I still want to
Awesome! Richie! Richie! She's still up for it, mate! No, not Rachel! She was my favourite! And if you're thinking, that was too quick, Jonjo, maybe she's not dead. She is. She's dead. She's out of the movie now. Back at the camp, it looks like Deb and Courtney are about to make up when she says this.
He doesn't help me take care of the baby. What am I gonna do? I mean, I heard there's a 15% chance that, a baby could come out being a midget, and how am I gonna take care of a midget baby?
Okay, that one actually got me. Elsewhere, in Day for Night, Elron is chilling with his screen off when Porkchop brings on the karma. Well, I guess that counts as a kill. I'm counting it. Once again back with Courtney, she gets scared and calls out to the others when she starts to hear pig noises. She turns in circles for a bit, then screams before backing into Porkchop and getting felt up. She then turns and runs away, but stops again for some reason, then runs again. In an effort to escape, Courtney climbs a tree, but Porkchop pulls a chainsaw out of his ass and sticks it up hers. Oof. And wouldn't you know it, after all of that, it was the chainsaw that got to go to Browntown. Cut to Deb finding Richie crying. He tells her about Rachel and Elron and she tries to comfort him, but he screams he's going home. She tells him to go back to camp and wait with Courtney as Deb swears nobody messes with her brother and sets off to that robot up. She goes looking for Elron but quickly finds someone got to him first. Deb then finds Rachel and turns her over to see she's very dead. I assume. We don't get to see shit. She then remembers Richie and buggers off as we cut to him back at camp continuing to whine like a little. He drops his inhaler, but when he goes to pick it up, gets his hand stomped on by Porkchop. He then runs as the pig picks up some lawn darts. Richie hides behind the headstone as Piggy searches for him, then takes off again, falling out of his shoes. And that's when Piggy gets him with the lawn darts. First in the heel. Then in the face. And finally in the head. Thank God, one of the most annoying characters in the film, and we got a nice amount of blood, especially for this movie. Good stuff. Cut back to the clerks as Clerk 1 whinges on about wanting to link up with the main cast and the girls.
I'm talking about sex with the ladies, man. This could dispel all them rumors of you half queer.
Moving on! Cut back to Debs as she gets to the camp and calls out for Richie, but instead finds Mike dead, but lacking the completely smashed in face that he got earlier. She then goes in his bag and finds a knife before heading out into the night once more. Cut to Deb finding Courtney dead, which you'd think she'd be quite pleased about. And then we get the single greatest moment of the entire film.
Oh my God. I guess she really did have a midget baby.
Good Lord.
I don't do babysitting.
Jesus Christ, what did the baby ever do to you? And why was its blood green? Deb then hears a chainsaw and the pigman comes out to chase her through the woods. She immediately falls over but manages to grab her knife and stab him in the leg before running. Pigsy then picks his saw back up again and we get more chasing. Deb finally makes it to the street and tries to flag down a car but is pulled back into the woods by the pigman. Deb gets away but instead of going straight back to the road she decides to chill on this step for a bit and cry about all of her dead mates. Elsewhere, Pigsy swings his saw about when Ian finally returns to the film just as drunk as he was before. He doesn't seem too fussed about the murderer in front of him, instead spilling some of his moonshine on the pig, then teleporting to Deb and asking her what's going on. And then out of absolutely nowhere, fire appears.
Ian, look out!
Where did the fire come from and why isn't the pig still on fire when he hits the ground? There are so many cutscenes from this movie, it's ridiculous. Anyway, Ian and Deb then walk off into the sunset as I notice Ian's pants aren't completely covered in shit like they should be. The end! Well.
Surprise, ladies. Let's get... Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's this guy! Jesus Christ, please free me from this torture! This is yet another scene of these two that goes on for way too long when they find the burned up pigman. Cut to some time later where Clerk 2 is now locally famous as being one of the two guys who took down Porkchop.
This used to be half his, now it's mostly mine. There was a buyout situation that occurred after the movie rights got sold and the book came out and all that stuff. But
end the movie! Hey! This family then go to take a picture with him as Rick Richards comes back on the telly saying 2 more teens have been found dead at Camp Wood.
I'm Rick Richards, Asshole News Network.
The end. Thank f***ing Christ. Porkchop is one of the most annoying movies I've ever had the displeasure of having to sit through. I hated every single character, apart from Rachel, obviously. And after the 2 kills in the opening, we don't get anything for another entire hour. In fact, to be very specific, it's 59 minutes. 59 whole minutes until we see blood again. This is by far the most irritating horror comedy I have ever seen in my entire life. The story is simple enough, with a group of teens going camping in the woods where they're eventually stalked and killed by a guy in a pig mask. Before that happens though, we get all the personal drama and terrible jokes you can handle. This movie really does have all the hallmarks of something awful. Unfunny jokes that go on for way too long with absolute god-awful sound. Sounds so bad that even if you did like the jokes, half of them you wouldn't even be able to hear. Onto the characters, and I hate everyone. I barely could stand Rachel because she was hot and the robot was pretty funny, but other than that, everyone else sucked. The worst by far were the clerks, who do have some names, but I don't respect them enough to bother saying them. I hated them so much. And the pig killer is just fine. At least he looked good. Oh, and Ian! F off with that fake British accent, dude. Absolutely terrible. Next is the gore, and for a movie that spends a million years getting to it, when it hits it was fine. Courtney getting a baby out there with the chainsaw was probably the best kill, with Richie in the opening kill coming in second and third. It's a shame Rachel didn't get a good death scene, and Piggy getting set on fire was hilariously bad, but after sitting through all those characters for that long, I'm just glad we got something. Production wise, this movie is a train wreck. Pretty much every aspect is awful, with the sound taking the hardest hit. It's got that wonderful quality of completely changing every single time we switch to a new shot. Sometimes the air conditioning sounds like it's blowing directly into the mic, and sometimes we can't hear anything at all. It's just that bad. In the end, Porkchop is one of the worst films I've ever seen. I think it could have been massively improved had we gotten kills a little bit earlier, but that being said, it still would have been god-awful. As I always say though, respect to the filmmakers for getting something made, and feature length no less. There are sequels which I will be checking out when I can get my hands on them, but for now, I say go watch this one, if only to see Rachel get railed by a robot. So that was my review of Porkchop. What do you lot think? I really feel like this was some sort of elaborate prank by whoever commented on the last video to get me to watch this, because there was like no redeeming factor apart from Rachel getting railed by a robot. The kills when we got to them were fine, but everything up until that point was so painful. I really hope they were able to improve those aspects in the coming sequels. Just give me another chainsaw abortion, but maybe like 20-25 minutes into the movie. Speaking of which, if you want to see Richie get a massive spike in his head completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added every single week. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, /a comic breakdowns, and the Discord. And all that can be yours for as little as $3 a month. $3! You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, as I need that money to submit my short film Better Anything to film festivals all over the world. As I said in the intro, we've already started that process and it can get super expensive, so any help that you could provide will be massively appreciated. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and lucky f***ing robot, I swear, I would suck the lady juice right out of his motherboard just for a tiny taste. Ugh. See you next time.